Are you already using that use case? Is that already?
Yeah. I mean, those are, and not just us. I mean, that is like, I think those are like table stakes today, especially when you get into like larger institutional groups. Sure. I think that is the progression of the mom and pop shops. I think being advanced in understanding technology and how to implement those tools. That's one example.
That's a great example. What percentage of new leases do you think are coming in that route?
I think, again, the technology and AI, I think real estate's super archaic. And so I would say in general, they're very late adopters, very, very late adopters. And from a technology, and I would guess less than 1%.
On your end, in your platform.
Well, again, I think we're just have continued, the technology has been advancing on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So like we continue to push the limits.
But you think eventually it's going to be?
From our portfolio standpoint, our goal would be to be at 100%. Wow. Or like I would say, or 90, it would be edge cases. So 90% to 95% would be full automation for our demographic and sociographic. But there are, of course, edge cases of people that need, for many different reasons, would need to
human touch or something.
Human touch,
yeah. It strikes me. I mean, signing a lease is a big life decision for anyone, right? I mean, that's a big commitment for at least a year, and you're putting a lot of thought into it. It strikes me that most people might want to have at least someone at the end of the day sign off on it, like have some sort of human touch, like maybe 98% of it's
probably doesn't completely go away. And I'm sure you could do that now, not in the form of a trained professional, but maybe somebody who lives in the community. It could be a community.
Yeah, exactly.
And just in general, I think AI is not to replace everyone. It's to amplify. You'll see more of this. It's to amplify individuals to like 10x or 100x, which realistic could be 100x output. And so that we call them like, you heard of it, like AI agents.
Oh yeah.
And so the concept of an AI agent, we think that humans will be the AI agent managers. And so you're managing a workforce of 100 of them would be an example. And so at the end of the day, it would, I think, fall back onto human touch approvals and stuff like that.
Very interesting.
So talk about Livly and how that came to be. It's been how many years now?
It's been 7 years now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride. What's exciting is the early vision has really come to become like a set standard. And we feel like there's many people continue to reiterate that vision. And early on, from our perspective and the pain point we were solving is we built amazing physical spaces. I think for us, from a technology standpoint, many technologists build technology. We first started designing, building, and managing our buildings. So we had a really good understanding of really what we would build for ourselves. So we built, we think, best physical spaces. I think we built environments early on too. They were building live, work, and play. Again, another buzzword. But if you looked at our buildings, it truly, genuinely created all of those physical things within one ecosystem with the nucleus of being living.
Forget outdated processes. Bracket is bringing intelligence to every step of the deal. Their founders will be on the podcast soon to talk about how AI is unlocking efficiency, reducing friction, and creating smarter workflows for brokers, owners, and investors. But don't miss out this deep dive into the future of deal making. BracketRE.com. We talk about that real quick, just because the amenities are obviously a big selling point always. But I toured a property the other day. There was a podcast studio, there was a meditation room, there was of course a gym, and then there was a library. And I'm probably missing a couple other miscellaneous rooms.
Sure, if you ask the owners, you missed 100.
Yeah, totally. And I looked in there, no one's in there. And I always ask myself, like, is this really a selling point for some of these properties? I think 70, 80, 90% of tenants probably think they'll use it maybe and don't. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that. So in short, the funny thing is, yes. The answer is when you're going in and selling, leasing out an apartment, it's such an important aspect of the selling. But once it's sold, it doesn't need to happen.
That's totally the vibe.
That is it. To show someone that they have every option.
It's like the shock and awe of, and
then the utilization we found was less than 5%. So we built a theory or thesis around that, which also was the evolution of Lively, is we think in the future, as you program spaces, the idea is that in the future, we can create amenities as a service.
Mm-hmm.
Think about reprogramming your spaces that are underutilized. So if you live in the building, you can use the space. If you don't live in the building in the future, we think you can become a member. And so you can activate the space, monetize, amenitize, and utilize. And then that would create cool activated space. And I think that would work if you're trying to build an environment, be like the Soho House of apartments.
Yeah. I think there's statistics out there. If you feel like you have a community where you live, you're less likely.
Now that you said Soho House of the apartments, it's kind of funny, right? People do look for that exclusivity factor. And it's like, you're paying for these services through your rent. But in theory, they're free. You're not charging. Maybe you charge somebody for a gym if it's super high end. But you give them this amenity package, quote unquote, for free. I feel like if you had slapped a brand on it and allowed an outside operator, it would be used all day.
So yeah,
the coffee shop would be packed. The meditation room would be packed.
And it doesn't even have to be the names, but it does work that way. If you look at our amenity spaces, you got to come to Chicago, by the way.
I know.
I got to bring you. But if you come to our buildings, they're full. Our lobbies, and they're a bunch of strangers too. It's not even residents and tenants. And then
You're kidding.